everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am excited about. We're going to be talking all about bronzers. I'm going to be going through my top 10 bronzers with you, starting with the least expensive and moving towards the most expensive. First one that I want to talk about is the NYX Matte Bronzer. They do have different shades. I have the shade medium, so most of the bronzers I'm going to talk about will probably work for light and medium complexions. So this one is the shade medium, like I said, from NYX. They do have a lighter shade and a darker shade. I don't know how many they have in this range, but the formula of this bronzer is what is so impressive to me for a drugstore product. This is so incredibly smooth. It's not choppy at all when you apply it onto the skin. It just applies really nicely. The medium shade is definitely more of a warm bronzer, but it's not too warm where you're gonna end up looking kind of orange. This one retails for $8.99 and you get 9.5 grams of product in it. Next up, I have a newer bronzer to my collection. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. They have a lighter one, which I think is called Light, and then they have this one, which is the bronzer shade. Even this one is fairly light. So if you are a pretty tan person, this is probably not going to show up on you. If you're a little bit more on the fair side, this will show up. Like I said, I'm kind of a medium light skin tone, and this does show up on me, but it's not going to be the most intense bronze effect. This works really, really well for me on a day-to-day basis to wear to like the office, because this is also a matte bronzer. There's no shimmer in it. This one is not very warm. I would say it leans a little bit more on the neutral to cool side. I feel like you could maybe do a little bit of contouring with this one if you really wanted to. The reason why I love it so much is, again, just that really buttery formula. It's called the Butter Bronzer, and it is formulated with some sort of like muru butter. You can see it shows up very faint below the NYX one, so a lot less pigmentation, or just a much lighter color. I would say it definitely shows up on my face a little bit better than that. And I forgot to mention, but it smells amazing. It smells like the beach. A tropical drink like a pina colada mixed kind of with like a sunscreen or like tanning oil kind of scent. It smells really nice. I like it a lot. This one retails for somewhere around $14 and you actually get 11 grams of product in this one. The next bronzer I'm going to talk about is a classic. This one has been a staple in my collection, and the first time I think I ever used this bronzer, I was like a freshman in high school. So I've been using this for over 10 years, for a really long time. This is the Benefit Hoola bronzer. It comes with a little brush, and honestly, I don't really use the brush. A lot of people say these brushes are kind of a dupe for the NARS Ita, just in their really thin, flat shape. So the Benefit Hoola bronzer can definitely be used as a little bit of a contour. It's a very neutral color, which is why I think a lot of people love it. It's light enough to where pretty fair people can use it and they'll get a really nice bronze, but also kind of like light medium skin tones can use it and build it up really nicely, and it's not too harsh or intense. But you'll see this one definitely shows up a lot more than the Physicians Formula. It's definitely a lot cooler than that NYX one, but it's just a really great bronzer. And you know, if you don't own a lot of brushes and you're looking for a little contour brush, you have that added bonus. This one retails for right around $29 and you actually only get 8 grams of product in this one. Next, I feel like this bronzer is really popular too, and for a reason. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil. I have the medium deep matte bronzer. Too Faced makes a lot of different bronzers. It can be kind of overwhelming, but I think my favorite ones are the Chocolate Soleil because they're matte and because, let's be honest, it's because they smell like chocolate. This one is, I would say, a little bit more warm probably. Let's swatch it and see. But the formula of these, again, so buttery, so smooth, just like when you put it on your face, none of these bronzers are going to give you that awkward kind of like streakiness. This is kind of an interesting color actually. Down here, you'll see, but it looks really nice on the face. I would say this medium deep one is definitely deeper. So this for me is a lot more pigmented than the Hoola bronzer. I do think it sticks around on the face for a good amount of time. It's just a good one to have. And this one retails for $30 and you get 10 grams of product in it. The next bronzer that I'm going to talk about, this one is one of those that is definitely super warm to the point where if you do not have the right skin tone for this, you can definitely end up looking orange very easily. But if you are a little bit tan, like I said, kind of a medium to tan complexion, I think you will love this bronzer, especially in the summertime. This is the MAC Give Me Sun bronzer. It's really quite popular on YouTube. This one retails for $32 and you get 10 grams of product with it. The formula of this one is really, really nice, and a lot of these bronzers I actually enjoy using as eyeshadow, kind of like crease colors. This is probably one of my favorite eyeshadow crease colors. It's a really pretty warm brown. This just makes your face look so radiant and bronzed. It's perfect for the summer. The MAC Mineralize Skin Finishes, that's what kind of formula this is. They're really soft, but you can just see how kind of orangey that is. In fact, the NYX medium looks like a kind of similar color. In person, this one actually even looks way more orange. I know on camera or in the viewfinder, they're showing up really similar. In person, the MAC one looks way more orange. I know it makes it sound like it's kind of a bad thing, but again, I'm telling you, with a big fluffy brush, in the summer with the right kind of complexion, this is beautiful. All right, the next bronzer that I want to mention is also super popular here on YouTube. I don't actually own the full size of this bronzer. I own it in a couple of different palettes, and I own like a little mini of it. It's the NARS Laguna, so this is my little mini travel size of it. I also have a couple of NARS cheek palettes where they put the Laguna bronzer in there. How cute is this little mini, by the way? This is adorable. This one does have a little bit of shimmer, but it's undetectable on the skin. I think it just ends up giving you a really nice kind of bronze glow. It has kind of like a golden shimmer to it. It is kind of lighter, so it's really nice and easy to build up. I think it works for people who are a little bit more fair, light. If you're medium like me, then it's really nice and buildable. It is a lovely bronzer, very, very natural looking. That's all I'm gonna say about that one. Oh, and for the price for this one, I'm gonna have to look it up actually on Sephora because like I said, I don't own the full size. This little mini is 2.5 grams and I got this in one of those little Sephora favorites kits. Okay, on the Sephora website, all it tells me is that the full size of this is $39 and 0.28 ounces, and I've been talking about all of the other bronzers in grams. I have to talk about the Hourglass Ambient Light bronzers. These are definitely in my top 3 ever bronzers of life. My favorite shade of the 2 of them is the Luminous Bronze Light. I'll show you both. I have a full review video of these bronzers where I kind of go way more into depth about the different colors and I swatch them and blah, blah, blah. But basically there's a lighter one, which is this one, Luminous Bronze Light, and then there's a darker one, which is Radiant Bronze Light. So when I'm at my palest through kind of like now, springtime, Luminous Bronze Light works better. In the midst of the deep summer when I'm really tan, Radiant Bronze Light works better. So if you are a really tan, Radiant Bronze Light is the better bet. Light to medium, Luminous Bronze Light, you're probably gonna enjoy better. These have their ambient lighting powders veined through them, so they're both very luminous. When you look at them in the pan, it can look like they have a glitter or shimmer. When you put them on your face, you will just glow. You will just look like a bronzed goddess. These will make you look like a Victoria's Secret model, and they're beautiful to look at, obviously. $50 a pop, and you get 11 grams. So you're getting a good amount of product. The Luminous Bronze Light one, I don't know if you can really tell, but I have actually kind of hit pan on this one. The pan is kind of like a netting, similar to when you hit pan on like a MAC Mineralize Skin Finish. If you go into the store and swatch this, you're gonna be like, meh. But when you put it on your face, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a whole other story, and it's just beautiful. Both of these are quite warm. I would say these are something that you wanna use to warm up your face and bring kind of a glow. It's not something that you wanna use to contour with. Are they worth the price? I would say absolutely. All right, the next bronzer that I wanna talk about is I think the only cream bronzer that I own. I wanna say that. I hope that's true. This is the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. I lusted over this, I'm not even kidding you guys, for like 2 years. It was really hyped up in my mind. And let me tell you, for me, it has definitely lived up to the hype. I absolutely love this bronzer. I've used it in a couple different tutorials on my channel before. I talked about it, I think maybe recently in my March favorites video even. It does have a very faint kind of like Chanel scent to it, but the formula of this is so beautiful. I like to use this with a big fluffy brush and just kind of warm up my face with it just like I would use any other bronzer, and it is so pretty. It's right here. So you can tell it's definitely quite warm, but it's a little bit more of like a yellow warm. It's not like an orange warm, if that makes sense. It's $50 and you get 30 grams of product. So I know it's like expensive compared to the other bronzers that I've talked about, but like this is $50 and you get 30 grams. and the Hourglass is $50 and you get 11 grams. So you're getting 3 times as much product in the Chanel and you're paying the same price. So just keep that in mind. If you are darker, this is probably not going to show up on your skin, but if you are light to medium complexion, this is so pretty for bronzing and warming up the face. It doesn't look obvious like you're wearing a bronzer. It just looks like you have a healthy glow, and that's why I love this product. Okay, so the next product I'm going to talk about is actually a bronzer and highlight duo, but I had to mention it for the bronzer. I love both the bronzer and the highlight in this thing, but the bronzer specifically, you will see I have destroyed. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow. I'm kind of being careful about the way I'm holding it because I'm down to like little pieces of the bronzer. Packaging of this is so beautiful. You can see it's this like rose gold, kind of like old school glamour. This retails for $68. You get 16 grams of product, but it's split into 2 products. You're only getting 1 bronzer. So the bronzer, I guess, is 8 grams and the highlighter is 8 grams. Look at what is left of my bronzer. There is like hardly anything left in there, and I really don't want to repurchase this because, like I said, with tax, this thing is like $70. I love the highlight. I just don't use as much highlight as I use bronzer, so I kind of wish these products were available separately. There's a little bit of a sheen or a little bit of a shimmer in it, but it's kind of like the NARS Laguna where you're not going to see any of that glitter on your face. This one is one that when you look at the pan, you're going to see a little bit of glitter in it, but when you put it on your face, again, just that beautiful, healthy glow. So natural. This is another one that you can really build up. It just has such a pretty sheen. It's very neutral. You could hardly see it. This is one that you can very kind of lightly contour with. This kind of does remind me a lot of NARS Laguna, to be honest, now that I'm kind of like talking about it. And when I first got it, I could not put this bronzer down. I wore it every single day to work, both the highlighter and the bronzer, which just kind of tells you how natural they are. You can wear them in daytime, you know, in an office setting, and they look beautiful. Technically, those are my top 10 bronzers. I do want to put a quick little honorable mention here at the end. Those are my top 10 bronzers that I have right now in my possession, but there is one bronzer that I have already actually finished. It was my favorite bronzer for years, and this video would not be complete without mentioning it because I mentioned it so much on my channel. And I don't have it to show you, but I have a similar looking compact. It comes in a compact that looks just like this. I'm talking about the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer, and I think the shade is called like Tantric or something like that. This is actually Marc Jacobs the Mirage filter, so this has kind of like a contour and a highlight product in it. When you buy the bronzer, this whole pan is just filled with bronzer, and it is glorious. I wish I had it to like swatch it for you and compare it with all of the other ones, but I don't. I use the whole thing up, which I think really tells you something. This bronzer retails for $49, and you get, well, in this one where it's split into 2, you're getting 9 grams of product each. So you're getting 18 grams total. So I think you're probably getting like close to 18 grams of just bronzer in the other one, which is a lot of product for $50. That was like my go-to favorite bronzer of all time before I even bought a lot of these other ones. With that recommendation of the Marc Jacobs bronzer, I have to talk to you about this because I bought this with that bronzer. This is the Marc Jacobs bronzer brush. I've had this probably for 2 years at this point. I've washed it like a million times. It still looks amazing. I used it today, so it's kind of dirty. This works perfectly with all of these bronzers. It works really, really well with the cream, even the Chanel. It's really nice and big, but it's a little bit tapered, so it's perfect just to get kind of like right there in your cheekbones, and then you can kind of like blend it out like this. Oh my God, this is the most perfect brush for bronzing your face. I have to recommend it. I know it's really expensive, but highly recommend this brush. All right, you guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me, chatting about bronzers. Hopefully you maybe got some inspiration for the summer and found a bronzer that you maybe want to check out. Let me know what your favorite bronzer is in the comments down below. I'm really curious to hear whether it's drugstore or high-end. Let me know what kind of bronzer you love using. What's your go-to? I will see you all in my next video. Until then, stay bronzed and beautiful. Bye.